This is the second of 3 clips on the methodology of the communication-oriented analysis of texts. In our previous clip, we explained the basics. In this second clip, we will introduce and explain the more advanced properties of this methodology. One of the most intriguing phenomena of texts is when a story is told within another story. One story is embedded in another one. We call this a Matryoshka, named after the famous Russian doll. As an example, we would like to use the well-known The Arabian Nights. Once upon a time, a queen betrayed her husband, King Shahryar. The king killed her straight away and vowed to marry each evening a new wife only to kill her the next morning. This went on for quite some time. To break the circle of violence and aggression, the vizier's daughter, Shahrazad, volunteered to be married to the king. After the marriage was consummated, Shahrazad offers to tell her husband a story to pass the time. The king agrees, but the new queen's story is interrupted by daybreak. Curious to know the ending, King Shahryar decides to spare her another night so she can finish the story. But by the next morning, she has started a new one, keeping the circle unbroken for 1001 nights. In the main story of Arabian Nights, Shahrazad and Shahryar are 2 characters on the textual stage told by an anonymous text-immanent author to an also anonymous text-immanent reader. But when Shahrazad starts telling one of her stories to the king, Shahrazad becomes the text-immanent author of the embedded story and the king the text-immanent reader of that embedded story. This embedded story has its own characters, for example, a genie in a bottle trying to escape his predicament. While this does not happen in the Arabian Nights, these embedded stages can get mixed up with one another, a fusion of stages resulting in a Matryoshka implosion. A made-up example would be if the genie in a bottle from the embedded story would appear between Shahryar and Shahrazad in the main story, asking them to do something. Another possibility is that one text quotes another text or alludes to another text. This is called intertextuality. Characters in a film, a game, or a novel can quote from the Gospel of Luke, Homer's Iliad, or Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. From the perspective of the communication-oriented analysis, this means we have 2 texts, the source text or arch text, and the one quoting the other, or phenotext. In the case of intertextuality, it is the text-immanent reader of the phenotext who interprets the relation between the 2 texts by understanding the equation between the text-immanent reader of the arch text and the text-immanent author of the phenotext. In the Bible, we have the Book of Esther. The Book of Esther is about King Ahasuerus, who killed his first wife because she disobeyed him. His new wife, Esther, tells him the story of her people to stop the king's plan to kill them all. The text-immanent author of the phenotext, in our example, The Arabian Nights, can be considered to be the text-immanent reader of the arch text, in our example, the biblical Book of Esther. The text-immanent reader of the phenotext, The Arabian Nights, notices this and interprets this relationship. In our example, a constructive relationship exists between The Arabian Nights and the biblical Book of Esther in portraying women as saviors. Yet another possibility is that of recontextualization, the repositioning of a text into another context. This does not change the text-immanent communication between the text-immanent author and the text-immanent reader, but it does most certainly matter to the new real readers of said text. It does matter for real listeners to Mozart's famous Requiem if it is performed in a church as a Mass of the Dead or in a concert hall as an example of very good classical music. On the one hand, the Requiem sounds the same in the church as in the concert hall, because all the notes and lyrics are the same. But on the other hand, hearing the Requiem in a concert hall will bring up different sensations and emotions in real readers than hearing it in church. The same can be said about the Arabian Nights. Reading the text is different from seeing the text at the exhibition of Cinderella, Sinbad, and Sinua, Arab-German storytelling traditions, held in the Berlin State Library Orient Department in 2019. The text is the same in both situations. The communication between the text-immanent author and the text-immanent reader is still the same, but for the real reader, the situation is different. The real reader of the Arabian Nights perhaps enjoys the narrative at home, in a comfy chair, while the real reader of the exhibition is occupied with trying to understand the position of the Arabian Nights in the intellectual history of Germany. A last interesting aspect of textual communication is the three ways in which the text-immanent author can address the text-immanent reader. The first is the most common way, the so-say indirect way. The text-immanent author tells the story to the text-immanent reader by using the characters doing their things on the textual stage. The second is less common and happens when the text-immanent author addresses the text-immanent reader directly. We all know this technique from fairy tales like Little Red Riding Hood. So I warn you, my dear readers, you should never talk to bears in the wood. A third option is known as breaking the fourth wall. It occurs when the text-immanent author uses a character to directly address the text-immanent reader. Imagine a film adaptation of the Arabian Nights, in which the genie secretly points directly into the camera to share a secret with the text-immanent reader. This concludes Part 2 of the Communication-Oriented Analysis. We hope to see you in Part 3.